let's talk about something that sounds, a little dry. OSHA record keeping. But stick with me, because getting this routine task wrong can be shockingly expensive. Today, we're going to break down everything you need to know about the OSHA 300, 300A, and 301 forms. And we're going to start with a story about a mistake that cost one company thousands. $15,625. Just look at that number. What do you think that was for? Some kind of catastrophic safety failure? A really serious injury? Nope, not even close. Believe it or not, that massive fine was given to an EHS manager simply because he forgot to post the OSHA 300A annual summary. That's it. He didn't fail to protect a worker, he failed to post a form. And look, this isn't some rare one-off story. These kinds of record-keeping violations are some of the most common and most easily citable offenses out there. It just goes to show you, knowing these rules is not optional. So today, we're going to give you the full roadmap. We'll talk about who actually needs to keep these records, how you decide if an incident is recordable in the first place. We'll break down the 3 essential forms you have to know, look at what all that data actually tells you, and then wrap up with reporting rules and the most common errors to avoid. Okay, let's start right there with that costly mistake. It is so easy to just dismiss these OSHA logs as, another boring administrative task, but that's where people really get it wrong. That's a huge misunderstanding of what they're for. See, the real goal here isn't to punish anyone. It's all about prevention. These forms are actually designed to be a tool to help you, your employees, and even OSHA find patterns and fix hazards before someone gets hurt. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through exactly what OSHA requires, how to fill everything out correctly, and how to calculate those key safety metrics that show you how you're really doing. Okay, first things first. Before we get into the how, let's cover the who. Does your business even need to be doing this? This is a fundamental question, and honestly, the answer isn't always as simple as you might think. So here's the general rule, right out of OSHA, Part 1904. And the phrase to pay attention to here is company-wide. This is a super common point of confusion. It doesn't matter if you've got 5 different locations with just 3 people at each one. If your total company payroll hits 11 employees, and that includes full-time, part-time, even temps, at any point during the year, then this rule probably applies to you. Now, there are a couple of ways you might be exempt from the routine record keeping. First up is size. If your company had 10 or fewer employees at all times during the last year, you're exempt. The second way is by industry. OSHA has a whole list of what it considers low-hazard industries based on their NAICS code. We're talking about places like retail stores, banks, insurance agencies, that kind of thing. But listen up, this is absolutely crucial. There's a big difference between record keeping and reporting. Even if your business is exempt from keeping those daily OSHA logs, no one is exempt from reporting severe incidents. If a worker fatality happens, you have 8 hours to report it to OSHA. For an inpatient hospitalization, an amputation, or the loss of an eye, you have 24 hours. This applies to every single employer out there, no exceptions. Okay, let's get to the heart of it. An incident happens at your workplace. Now what? You've got to figure out if it actually needs to go on your OSHA log. It's not as simple as writing down every single cut or scrape. OSHA gives us a pretty clear 3-step decision tree to make the call. The very first test is work-relatedness. Basically, an injury is considered work-related if something at work, an event, or an exposure either caused it, contributed to it, or significantly aggravated a condition the employee already had. And that work environment is defined really broadly, covering pretty much anywhere an employee is as a condition of their job. The second test is straightforward. Is this a new case? You only record new injuries. If an employee is just dealing with symptoms from an injury you already have on the log, you don't start a new entry. You would just go back and update the original one if, say, they needed more days off. So, if you've got a new work-related case, there's one last hurdle. It has to meet at least one of OSHA's specific recording criteria. This is really where the rubber meets the road in your decision-making. And here's the checklist. A case is recordable if it results in death, days away from work, restricted work or a job transfer, or loss of consciousness. It's also recordable if it requires medical treatment that goes beyond basic first aid, or if a doctor gives a significant diagnosis like a fractured bone. If you can say yes to even one of these, it's got to go on the log. Now that line between first aid and medical treatment, this is where a ton of companies make mistakes. OSHA has a very specific list of what counts as first aid. We're talking about things like using over-the-counter medication at normal strength, giving a tetanus shot, cleaning a wound, using bandages, even things like hot or cold therapy. Pretty much anything not on that list, like getting a prescription or needing stitches, is considered medical treatment, and that makes the case recordable.
All right, you've done the hard part and determined a case is recordable. Now it's time to actually do the paperwork. OSHA has 3 specific forms, your record-keeping toolkit, if you will, that you've got to use.
First up is the OSHA 300 log. The best way to think of this is as your master list, or a running diary, of every single recordable incident for that year. For each case, you'll log the employee's name, job title, date of injury, where it happened, a description, and then classify the outcome. And you have to get this done within 7 calendar days of finding out about the incident. Now, for every single line you put on that 300 log, you need a companion document, the OSHA 301 Incident Report. This is where you tell the full story, the deep dive. It captures all the details about what the employee was doing, what happened, who they saw for treatment, all the specifics. It really answers the who, what, when, where, and how. And just like the 300 log, this form also needs to be filled out within 7 calendar days. And the final piece of the puzzle is the OSHA 300A, the annual summary. This is the form that got that manager in our opening story in trouble. At the end of the year, you take your 300 log and you just total up all the columns, the number of cases, the number of days away, and so on. You put those totals here. Then a company executive has to sign it to certify it's correct. And here's the critical step. You have to physically post this form somewhere everyone can see it, from February 1st all the way through April 30th. And yes, even if you had 0 incidents, you still have to fill it out with zeros, get it signed, and post it. So why does OSHA make you do all this? I mean, what's the point of collecting all this data? Well, it's not just to create paperwork. This information is used to calculate key metrics that tell a very important story about the safety of your workplace. Let's look at the 2 big ones. Here they are, TIIR and DART. The total recordable incident rate, or TIIR, is kind of like your overall safety grade. It measures your total injury and illness rate. Then you have the DART rate, which stands for days away, restricted, or transferred. This one is similar, but it zooms in on the more severe cases, the ones that actually cause someone to miss work or be put on light duty. It tells you the rate of incidents that are serious enough to keep people from doing their normal jobs. And here's why these numbers matter so much. They're not just for you. OSHA and the Bureau of Labor Statistics use this data to set industry benchmarks. So when an OSHA inspector is planning a visit, one of the first things they'll do is check your company's TIIR and DART rates and compare them to the national average for your specific industry. If your numbers are way higher, that's a huge red flag, and you can bet they're going to take a much closer look at your safety programs. Okay, we've covered how to keep the records. Now let's bring it all home and talk about how you report this info to OSHA, and more importantly, the common pitfalls that can lead to those really expensive citations we've been talking about. For a lot of companies these days, just keeping paper records isn't enough. You also have to submit your data electronically through OSHA's website, called the Injury Tracking Application, or ITA. This is required for larger establishments with 250 or more employees, and also for smaller ones, from 20 to 249 employees, if they're in one of those designated high-hazard industries. And that submission deadline is March 2nd every year. And this brings us right back to where we started. If you want to avoid that huge fine, you've got to avoid these common mistakes. First, don't forget to post the 300A on time. Second, you have to get that executive signature. An unsigned form is a violation. Third, make sure you're recording cases within that 7-day window. Fourth, be so careful about misclassifying a recordable case as first aid only. You have to know that difference. And finally, you must keep all of these records on file for at least 5 years. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this question to think about. Are your OSHA records just another compliance chore you have to check off a list? Or are you actually using them as a powerful tool to spot trends, fix problems, and build a genuinely safer workplace? If you found this helpful and you want to learn more about workplace safety and OSHA rules, make sure you subscribe to HSEstudy. Thanks for watching.